Cool.
All right, so if you want to chop up samples, if you want to sample in FL Studio, one of the main ways you can do it is you go and you grab your sample. Let's see where our sample is here. Samples. Okay, we're going to grab the sample pack and drop it in Edison. Now we've opened up Edison by going to the mixer first. We open it up, pick a mixer channel. I'm
Hmm.
not picking one, two, three, or four because we have drum sounds routed through those each individually. We
Hmm.
don't want it overlapping. So I've gone to five. I clicked on five. I clicked this little side arrow thing and I've selected Edison, which is right here. So now that we have Edison, you just click on it to bring it up. I dropped my waveform in there. I went to my Finder or whatever, and you can also just click in there and it'll ask you to browse. Dropped it in there. And then we have, you can double click, it makes it bigger. We have this huge waveform with all these samples in it. So we got to
Hmm.
find a sample that we like. I hit the spacebar to just make it start playing, or you can hit this. And you can zoom in by grabbing the right extremity of the little bottom preview window down here, and then you can zoom in, right? So then you want to like highlight where you want to start from. Because if you double click here, it'll start there once, and then if you hit play again, it'll reset back to the beginning.
Hmm.
So what I do is I highlight, and you can always move your highlight selection like this and adjust it. So I don't particularly want to use this sample. There's some other stuff in here that I really like. So I'm going to grab this little window and shift it over and move through the waveform, and we can zoom out to get a better idea of like, oh, this is probably, there's one song here. There's probably another song that starts here. So
Hmm.
double click, highlight. Okay, it's still that song. Let's pull it over. In fact, it probably goes till here. Let's see. And then this little division here is going to
Hmm.
show us it probably stops here. Yep. The great part is coming up here that I like. Right here. And then I'm going to zoom in by grabbing the left extremity like this and like that. But you can also use the zoom feature here, and you can go zoom in, which I would suggest, or zoom on left of selection, so it zooms to the left of it. But it zoomed in super far, so let's pull it back out. And then let's pull it over like this. And so now you can see why I'm using this to zoom in. But you can also just do zoom in. It zooms in more, not so much. You can hit page up if you have a PC. It'll zoom in. That's a short command on a PC. On a Mac, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but we'll just do this. And so I'm manually zooming in like this. I'm
Hmm.
going to say, okay, grab my little selection, move over. I think the part that I like starts. Yeah, so this is probably the one. So if we're counting it out,
Hmm.
one. No, it's not. That's the one right here. I like this part. One, two, three, four, two, three. So it's funky. We'll see how it loops, but I'm going to grab this because I might want to chop it. And I'm going to show you how to throw it in the Fruity Slicer because then you can chop it up using a MIDI controller. Or the cool thing about FL Studio is you can just use the keys on your keyboard. You don't even need a MIDI controller. It acts as a MIDI controller, and that's what the little setting thing up. Where is it? Let's see. The MIDI. Oh, it's this. Enable plus MIDI keys. Or maybe that's overdub. It has a piano thing. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But I have my sample here. I'm going to minimize my window. All right. So then there's another sample that comes in there. This I care about. And what am I going to do on a Mac or a PC? I'm going to right click on this here. Because if I hit the left click button, watch, it just makes a marker, which is good. But I want this whole loop. I've created a loop or a section. So you right click on there and it creates regions. And now if you're like, oops, I clicked over there, you can just go back, double click in the upper left hand corner with the little pointer finger and highlights it. Why does that matter? Two reasons. One, I can put this in the playlist if it did loop properly by clicking this button. Where's the playlist? Hit the playlist icon. You see it now appears in here.
Hmm.
Playlist is where you arrange your song. You take all your patterns and you put them in here and you arrange it from left to right. Beginning a song, end a song. So this probably doesn't loop, but we can find out. The reason it probably doesn't loop is that I don't think it's an even number of beats. It's not like one bar evenly or two bars evenly or
Hmm.
whatever. let's put it on here. And we haven't time stretched it. Our master BPM is 130 beats per minute, which is like techno speed. So I'm going to bring it down. You can even right click on it and let's set it for like 90 BPM. It's probably going to be around there. But I double click on this waveform and it allows me to time stretch it. If it were actually 4 beats, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. It's like maybe 3¼ bars or 3 1/8 note or something. I clearly need to chop it better. But if I had looped it properly on Edison, right, then we'll go back to Edison here. Then I could just drag it, excuse me, into the playlist. I swear I don't have COVID. You could just drag it into the playlist and loop it there, time stretch it. So let's see if I can do that better. The other reason we want to highlight this segment is because we can also alternatively put it into a Fruity Slicer or Slice X. I recommend Fruity Slicer, which is here under drum, even though it's not just for drums. And I grab, you can see it here, it's also here. I grab this is highlighted. So I'm going to tell it I want to grab that and move it and drop it in here and pow. Now it's in there. And now I can tell it slice by medium auto slicing. So it's now lit it up. And I just hit my Q. I'll put my screen down. Maybe you can see my finger almost, kind of, not really. Well, I'm hitting the Q button and it's playing the first slice. I'm playing other keys on my keyboard and it...
Oh, wow.
Now see how it's not playing the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
I have to hold it. But if you want it to play out, what you need to do is you go to the little settings option and you adjust your ADSR. Attack, decay, hold, sustain. Sustain's all the way up. Hold is not. When I bring it up all the way and I hit my button again, little slice. Well, oops, that's not doing it. Hold on. No, I'm sorry, it's the release. It's not that. It's not hold. It's release. You bring release up and then watch. And so now it's playing the whole thing instead of just playing the little bit, instead of you having to hold it. So I've taken a section that's not necessarily a loop, although it can be a loop that loops properly, and now I've dropped it in the slicer. It sliced it up for me. If it were, let's try, for example, cutting it instead of by medium auto slicing. Let's do it by quarter beat, or not quarter beat, by actual beats. We just went by beats, which are quarter notes. See how it's kind of cutting off there a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, you can see there's a little, it's showing you. I'm on this one right now. It's showing you. At the end, there's this little thing. So what I want to do is go right here and right click, do split slice so it doesn't have that little at the end. And then I'm going to go and click on this tiny micro one, or maybe I'll go here. I click on this big one, and I'm going to go remove slice, and now it combines with the little one before it. Now, this one's clean. It doesn't have the clip at the end, right? It doesn't have the little thing in there anymore. And this one includes it. I'm hitting my E button and Q button to do this. I'm literally using it as a MIDI controller. And this one's a little messy, right? It doesn't cut on the transient perfectly. So we're going to go back here. And we're going to do right click, remove slice. And then I'm going to go here. Let's see. It's the middle waveform. See this right here is that. So I'm going to right click here and do split slice. And now let's see. It's catching that second one, so I might want to split that too. So these two are part of one hit, like one thing. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to remove this slice. Let's get rid of this one, remove slice, and I'm going to slice it here.
So you're kind of like you're chopping it up into little segments that feel complete, kind of.
Yeah, and then we can, because playing sample chops is when you play sub micro segments, micro chops of a longer section.
Right. Okay.
That's a nice little segment to play. There you go, right there, right? And
Hmm.
so what I'm gonna do, if you didn't have, you know, good drum sounds, you only have the stock ones, then you would go to packs and you would go to, well, let's go to drums. Let's see what they have in here. These aren't too bad. Let's see what they have for snares. These are all 808. These are too electronic sounding for me. Mm, I don't like this pack here. It's too like electronica for me. So let's go mode audio, drums, kits, groove bias. Sounds like a real drum kit. Hitting the rock kit, rock thrower, funk, jazz, groove bias. Let's see. Now, I'm for the sake of simplicity and efficiency, I'm going to use my drum kits, which are preloaded. You just go to options, go to file settings once you download drums, and you just say, oh, my drums are located here, and you search for it in the Finder, and then you're good. I already have drums that are great that I'm going to use. Let's see if we have the butcher kits, hopefully. No, oh, that's trash. It might be in here. We got slappy drums. Actually, let's see if we can find it because these are really good drums. File settings. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to desktop. I'm going to go to samples. And then even more drums. I'm going to have that in there too. That's a folder I have where I put even more drums. Oh, I have that twice. Oh well. Oh, let's see here. Samples live. Ableton Live Machine. And that's loops. I don't want to use a loop. I want a divided one shot. Let's check out this one. These are nice. Realistic, gritty sounding hi-hats. Oh, that's really nice. I'm going to clone this channel because it runs through the same mixer channel, and I'm going to replace the cloned version with this one, so I have a second one. I have this one, single, and this is. So now I right click, I do fill each 2 steps at 90 BPM, and check this out. And now I'm going to find myself, so that's a lat addition to hat 11. So let's go for kicks, lat addition to 11. I'm assuming that's the same kit. Put that in my kick drum, turn volume up on that. Kicks and snares should be the loudest. Hi-hats are next loudest after that. Snare drum, let's go 11. Hopefully that's the same kit. Put my snare here. It goes on the 2 and the 4. The 2 and the 4. Colors indicate beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat
Gotcha.
4.
Okay.
Bar 2, beat 1. Bar 2, beat 2. Bar 2, beat 3. And I just use colors as a cheat code. Sounds like the beginning of Shook Ones Part 2, right? All right. So, here, we got, oh, it's so nice. I'm going to try it, see what happens if I do this. Combine them. Alternate them. Let's see what happens if we alternate. So I'm going to have this one hit, then that one hit. Alternating. Boom. Boom. No. We're going to maybe have a combination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and put this every 4 steps and have this every 2. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and make my drums more realistic sounding by going and hitting, sorry, I have my zoom bars in the way, I'm going to move it. You can't see it though. Hit this little thing right here. That's levels. This is the volume of each note. I'm going to go ahead and bring the volume of every other note, the second one, down to give it a realistic sounding groove. So this is some drum programming technique. So you do that nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I said go like that after it. Oh, because I have a longer loop than I realized. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. We don't need a 3-bar loop. I'm just going to do a 2-bar loop. So delete these. And now it's a 2-bar loop. Now we're going to get our kick drum. So I'm going to go to my kicks. And I'm going to grab kick 11. Oh, I have kick 11. It goes on the 1 and the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kick, snare, kick, snare. Now I'm going to add more flavor. Your kicks don't go over the snares because otherwise they'd block them out. So I'm not going to put my kicks here, 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 here. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a boom bap beat. And I'm going to change the velocity, which is the volume of this little ghost note before the 1. So it's not full on. See, it sounds more natural, right?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to shift this note a little closer to that one by going to shift. And then I bring it up a little and watch. And listen. Boom, boom. Yeah, here we go. If I bring it down, watch what happens. It's stiffer, so I want it to be more loose, swing a little.
Wow.
Now we have a realistic sounding drum break that we've programmed. And now this thing I'm going to put through channel 5 because that's my fruity slicer. You click on it, shows it to you. That needs to be chopped better. This is not chopped on beat. So I'm going to remove this slice. I'm going to now go here, split it there, which is right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove that slice. And I'm going to slice this baby right here. So I don't get that little at the end. I'm actually going to tighten up the release. It's a little too much for me, so I'm going to go. That's going to make it not play the whole thing as much. Now it's created a score here. We don't want this score in there. That's the piano roll because I'm going to play it. Otherwise, watch. It is playing it. I want to play my own pattern on here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit record, and I'm going to tell it notes and automation. You do not want to record audio because it's going to start recording audio from my microphone onto as a audio playlist clip. No, just notes and automation. We're just doing MIDI. We're just controlling this stuff now. I'm going to tell it to wait for me. So when I hit play, record is enabled. It's about to record. If I hit play, it's waiting for me to play first. So watch. And it gives me a countdown. Ready, and... Alright, so I screwed that up, so I'm going to do it again. This one's off. We got to clean this one up. ready. So let's do Command cut to cut this thing out. I need to get where I'm positioning my fingers on the keys I'm going to use. That one. So I have my middle finger on that one, my pointer finger on this key, and then these two. And now I hit that, and then I'm going to go 2, and here we go. And now it didn't record in. That's weird. I don't know why. Oh, because it's still going? Interesting. Okay. So that's all right, but I just want to delete this thing. You can see this is the piano roll. And if I scroll up, you'll see this is what I just played.
Mm-hmm.
It thinks for some reason that we're doing 3 bars. It just kept on recording. I delete that, so it's not going to play all this stuff. X out of the piano roll, and it should, let's see, that's loop recording, yeah. So I'm turn record off, hit play. Turn off record, no. Disable that. We're going to take off the timer thing so it doesn't wait for you to hit a key to play. Now I go in here to adjust this. And you'll notice, if I move this window, these slices, these parts correspond to slice 10. That's slice 1 that's playing. You can see it triggering it. Let's try moving that one up. If I make this shorter, it should shorten it down a little bit, especially if you change the release. If you bring the release all the way back, like this. See how it cut it off there? If I bring it out more, it should play longer. This is a little offbeat here. I'm going to zoom in and pull it over like this. Oh, well, this is one of the times when we could use quantize. And you can hit Shift Q and it quantizes it. It snaps onto the grid. But I don't want it that exact. I like the swing being a little offbeat here. It's just this one's offbeat. So I'm going to hold down, I think it's Option. Yep, and it lets you move it not snapping to the grid. If you hold Option and then on your keyboard and then click. So I'm experimenting with different combinations. We're creating a new melody out of a pre-existing melody. And this slice 10 goes into 11. So it plays this one then that one. So it goes more smoothly. We might bring that over a little. Now here's the thing. As soon as you go over 3, into bar 3, it's going to play the whole of bar 3. It won't loop here anymore because it's like, oh, you're playing over here too. So to make sure that that cuts off, I'm going to hold Option and bring this back so the end of it doesn't go over the line. It might even still be going over the line. We can zoom in and see. Grab the extremity here, zoom. Let's see. Fruity Loops FL Studio is very picky about that. So if this goes a micro chop over, okay, I'm lucky. It's within. Beautiful. Now the other thing I'm going to do is this has bass built into it. This sample. I could add my own bass or I could use the bass in it. I'm going to hit F9, bring up my mixer track. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to add an EQ. Parametric EQ2. It shows us. So I don't need my sub basses, so I'm going to roll this off at the sub bass level. And I'm going to just change how steep that curve that is. And I'm going to boost it at around 80, which is a primary bass frequency. Well, maybe I'll have it Yeah, let's see. Actually, I'm going to change the curve a little. And then with 2, I'm going to boost it at around 80, 100 hertz. Now, what would happen if we added another one on, another one of these, and I pulled the highs out like this? Watch. I
Hmm.
don't. Can you hear the bass?
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, someone else wants to jump in here. Got it. Me too. All right. So, just to take you back, so we have our sample chops. That's cool. Let me take you back to what I was trying to show you before in terms of chopping, before I went on this deviation, chopping a loop. So we go to Edison. I'm going to turn this off. Now we got a bass boosted thing, but we're going to go into our Edison. We're going to go here really quickly, see if we can get this to loop. So that's the 1. And then you want to hit the little infinity loop button there. Now I don't know if that's an actual loop, but let's try an experiment and see if it is. I'm going to hit my little marker here, right click, it makes the loop, insert into playlist. I'm going to minimize this. We're going to go to our playlist, and I'm going to get rid of this thing. We're going to take this thing, and I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to go to time stretch it, and I'm going to guess that it's a 2-bar loop. Let's see how that works. We'll then tell it to play in song mode, or just click in here. And then I'm also going to say, I don't want you to be pitched up, even though it's at a faster tempo than the original tempo of the song. I want you to use the stretching algorithm to make it the same pitch as the original. And then I'm going to go to my pattern 1, which is this right here, the drums. I'm going to click on it, right click, rename. Rename, we're going to call it drums. I'm going to give it a color. Boom. And then I'm going to click on it to tell it that's what I want. And I'm going to put it over this, and we're going to see if this makes sense. If it doesn't, I might have to chop another loop or just use my sample chops. But here it is. Sounds a little too fast, so let's stretch it out. Instead of 2 bars, we're going to tell it to do right click, do 4 bars. I'm going to delete this because it's a 4-bar loop. Oops, let's paint it in again. Very slow and time stretched. And it could be, then it might be a, let's see, it could be 3-bar loops. So then we just click here, look on the upper left-hand corner. You'll see the numbers in the most upper left-hand corner. I'm going to stretch it to 3 bars with my mouse. And I have these 2 damn things playing at the same time. That's why it doesn't make sense. Sounds better, right? We could try 2 bars real quick, see how that works. Doesn't make sense, right? So it's a 3-bar loop. So that's how you loop it. Usually you want to do like 2 and 4-bar loops. Makes it clearer, more simple. Once you get all your patterns, which you have in here on your drum pattern, and then I would probably want to separate out my chop pattern. I hit Command X, cut it. I'm going to go and make a new pattern here. I'm going to call it chops. and I paste that in, Command V, boom, there it is. I can also have this pattern. I click on it here, I put it here, or let's see, I'll put it after here, and then I have my chops.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you start to begin to arrange your song. Song mode makes it play what's in here. Pattern mode makes it play what's in here in the pattern. You switch to song mode.
Yeah.
So that's the basics of how to do it using Edison, chopping the